Hello and welcome to the Connection Audit. We are Kirsten and Blake.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here.
We're here today to take a clear-eyed look at modern relationships, what's changed, what's broken, and what actually helps people connect. We'll explore ethical non-monogamy ENM, for short, in a balanced and non-judgmental way. And we'll discuss things like consent, boundaries, communication, the fear of rejection, and how to navigate feelings with skills most of us were never taught.
And we'll share how the Blossom Society is building a platform where education comes before access, with women at the heart of the garden. TBS is rooted in the ENM community, where women are sovereign, but the guidance translates to anyone who wants healthier connection, clearer agreements, and develop strong, deep roots.
That's spot on.
So, if you're done with chaos and ready for clarity, you're in the right place.
So here's how this works. Each episode, we run an audit not of people, but of patterns, the stuff that quietly shapes how we date, love, and relate.
First, we audit the culture, the norms, the myths, and the unspoken rules that keep everyone performing and nobody actually connecting.
Then we audit the behavior, what shows up in messages, in boundaries, in conflict, and in consent, the micro-choices that either build trust or erode it.
And finally, we audit the solution for practical tools you can actually use. Clearer language, better agreements, stronger repair, and the kind of emotional skills that should have been taught years ago.
We'll be respectful, we'll be honest, we'll keep it human. And yes, there may be the occasional gentle laugh, because sometimes the only thing more exhausting than modern dating is pretending it isn't exhausting.
No shaming, no grandstanding, just clarity, standards, and a way forward, whether you're exploring E&M, rebuilding trust, or simply trying to do love with more integrity.
Okay, so let's get right into the culture audit. I mean, if you're out there feeling just totally burned out by dating or connecting right now, there is a very real reason for that.
Oh, absolutely. The environment we're all navigating today, it's just incredibly noisy.
It's noisy, and it's relentlessly transactional. Platforms are basically selling you this idea of closeness and community, but what they actually deliver, time and time again, is just pure fatigue.
Right, because they're essentially taking the most impulsive, unhelpful parts of human psychology and pushing them right to the front. The whole system is designed around speed.
Speed and these really snap judgments. It's constant performance, which creates this intense illusion of choice and an illusion of safety, too.
Yeah, the culture just rewards volume over respect. It treats it like a numbers game, but human beings aren't numbers.
Which means you're forced to make these profound decisions about connection in, like, 3 seconds based on a couple of photos and a witty bio. That doesn't reward vulnerability at all. It rewards posturing.
For sure. And that sheer volume of choices, it leads straight to choice overload.
Right.
You start believing that someone slightly better is just, one swipe away.
And that mindset completely undermines any patience you might have had to actually sit and get to know someone. It makes people feel totally disposable.
It really does.
Yeah.
And we see this clashing heavily when we look at the reality of ethical non-monogamy today. Because if you're listening, you probably already know E&M isn't this anything goes free for all the media portrays.
Far from it. True E&M relies heavily on consent, on absolute clarity, and the ability to say no without being punished. It's the opposite of cheating, which relies on secrecy.
Right. But even within those highly communicative dynamics, there's this massive cultural friction happening right now.
Because we're basically trying to live in 2 different centuries at the exact same time. We have all these beautiful modern expectations for relationships.
Yeah, we want true equality, emotional openness, and a robust consent culture.
But at the same time, we're still dragging around all this heavy baggage of old, outdated instincts.
Old habits die really hard. We still expect men to be the pursuers and women to be the gatekeepers, filtering them out.
And there's still so much lingering shame around desire itself. When you take modern expectations and smash them into primal instincts, the result is massive confusion.
And online platforms compress all that human nuance into a tiny digital box. Under pressure, people panic and revert right back to those stereotypes.
Which brings us perfectly to the second part of our framework. Let's audit the behavior. How does all this cultural confusion actually translate into what people do on a daily basis?
Well, a very specific pattern emerges, especially among single men. It's what we call the status versus character trap.
Oh, the status trap. We have all seen this play out. Let's talk about what this actually looks like.
Under the immense pressure to stand out, a lot of men default to status signaling. You know, the profile of the gym selfies, leaning on luxury cars, casually flashing a designer watch.
Right, and we have to look compassionately at why they do it. It's not just vanity. Old cultural scripts taught them that value equals status.
They're trying to prove their worth based on an antiquated rulebook that says provision and dominance are what matter most.
But here's the painful disconnect. Single women are reading that exact same behavior in a completely different way. They see those photos and read it as pure performance.
Yeah, unless those signals are balanced with genuine warmth and emotional maturity, it doesn't read as safety.
It reads as pressure. It tells a woman that this person might lack the emotional vocabulary to actually connect. Women are looking for character, not a highlight reel of objects.
And that disconnect feeds directly into another widespread behavioral issue: safety theater and boundary testing.
Safety theater is everywhere. It's when spaces have all these rules and codes of conduct on paper, but they're never actually enforced.
The bouncer is at the door, but he's letting his friends in through the back.
Right. And that lack of enforcement creates an environment where boundary testing thrives, usually dressed up as just banter.
It's that sarcastic comment that goes a little too far, or pushing a physical boundary and then saying, "I was just kidding, relax."
And let's be honest about who bears the brunt of this. Women frequently experience this objectification, and because the spaces don't enforce their own standards, women are forced to take on massive emotional labor.
It's incredibly draining to have to be the etiquette teacher for every person you interact with.
You shouldn't have to explain basic consent. It burns people out. And this pressure doesn't just affect singles. It hits established relationships too, especially in the ENM space.
Right, we see this common panic response in couples. When they're navigating new connections, the moment they hit a bump, they freeze.
If the spark naturally dims for a moment because of, say, life stressors, they assume it means total relationship failure.
Instead of communicating through the discomfort, they panic, leading to boundary drift.
Boundary drift is when early agreements just collapse under real-world pressure. Instead of talking it out, someone bends the rules to avoid a hard conversation.
And when boundaries drift, it almost inevitably leads to secrecy or shame.
Absolutely. Instead of negotiating like adults, people hide, which ties perfectly into the ghosting epidemic.
Silence has become an accepted form of rejection. People treat a simple lack of chemistry as an act of danger.
When someone just vanishes, they leave the other person spinning, second-guessing everything. It deprives them of the clarity needed to process the rejection and grow.
It's the ultimate avoidance of accountability.
So we've audited the culture and we've audited the behavior. Now it's time to audit the solution because we can't just point out what's broken.
We have to offer a way forward. And this is where we look at the core design principle of the Blossom Society. Women are sovereign.
This principle is foundational, and we need to be very clear. This isn't about putting men beneath women. It's a highly practical reality.
In most lifestyle spaces, women's safety and comfort are the limiting factors. If women don't feel safe, they leave, and the space collapses.
But when the environment is built around their psychological and physical safety, everything changes. When women set the pace, the entire ecosystem becomes calmer and kinder.
Designing for the highest risk member reduces harm for everyone. It forces the whole community to slow down.
Which leads to the next crucial piece of the solution: growth before access. Making respect a learned skill set, not just a buzzword.
We're so conditioned to expect instant gratification, but real connection requires intentional, protective friction.
Protective friction, I love that term. To visualize this, we use the garden metaphor broken down into 4 spaces. First is the vestibule.
It's the entry space where you set your intentions, configure boundaries, and make a formal safety pledge. You pause before you proceed.
Then comes the tool shed. This is where Learn First becomes real. Members must complete coaching modules before they're allowed to interact.
It's like getting a driver's license. You learn the mechanics of consent, aftercare, conflict communication, and profile craft. You have to earn your way into the community.
Once those foundations are laid, you access the hive mind. That's a moderated space for community wisdom, to discuss modern dating without the pressure of trying to pick someone up.
And finally, the garden itself for curated connections. But access is maintained only through consistent, respectful behavior.
So how do we take these big ideas and turn them into practical tools for everyday connection? What can you start doing tonight?
For couples, a powerful strategy is the 2-yes principle. It's simple. If you're exploring a new dynamic, both individuals need to say a wholehearted yes.
1 yes and 1 maybe equals a no for now. A maybe is often just a no that's afraid to speak up. It protects your primary bond above all else.
Another vital tool is the use of repair rituals. Human relationships are messy, boundaries will get bumped into.
A repair ritual involves naming the impact without getting defensive. It's taking true accountability and actively restoring trust.
It's the difference between saying, I'm sorry you felt that way, and saying, I see how my action made you feel unsafe, and here is how I will change.
We also advocate using pacing tools like the green, amber, red check-in system. You always move at the pace of the most cautious person.
If someone hits an amber, you slow down. You don't push for green. It honors the nervous system and keeps the connection secure.
Ultimately, all these tools come down to one mindset shift: valuing connection over convenience.
Think about it. People readily spend 4 pounds a day on a takeaway latte. That's 16 pounds a week for 10 minutes of comfort.
Yet so many hesitate to invest any real time or resources into the emotional literacy that actually protects their peace of mind.
We expect relationships to work just because we feel love. But love isn't a skill set. Communication and consent are.
A monthly subscription to a space that enforces standards like the Blossom Society starting at $12.99 costs less than that weekly coffee habit.
The money isn't the point. It's where we place our value. Connection without consciousness is chaos. But connection with awareness is an art form.
It really is. And before we move to our takeaways, we want to pose a question for you to carry into your week. Think about the last time you felt friction in a relationship or while dating. Did you treat that friction as a sign of failure to be avoided, or did you treat it as an opportunity to pause, repair, and build a stronger foundation?
That is a powerful thought to sit with. The way you answer that might just change how you approach every connection from here on out.
And we'll try to leave you with 3 takeaways. Takeaway 1. You'll learn how to spot the cultural scripts that quietly sabotage connection and how to move away from them.
Takeaway 2. You'll get clearer behaviors to aim for around consent, setting boundaries, clear communication, and repair without turning relationships into a minefield.
Takeaway 3. You'll leave with practical tools you can try immediately, so connection becomes something you can build, not something you just hope for.
Totally.
Thanks for listening to the Connection Audit, where we hope we've helped you uncover new skills, a deeper understanding around connecting with other people, and give you the courage to be honest with yourself, your partner, and those people you connect with.
And our only ask is if you know one person who you feel would benefit from listening to our conversation, please mention the Connection Audit and point them in our direction. Let's kick off a conversation about how we can build better connections. And if you have any questions, a theme, or a topic you'd like us to cover, please give us a like, leave a comment, and we'll get it scheduled into the running order.
Be kind to yourself.
Until next time, less scrolling, more soul.